Sportsman.
Hello, sportsmen. I hope you stay tuned for the next half hour because we have a variety for you. We have, well, one segment we're going to do, you know, Bob Vila. I like to say Vila. In fact, I'm going to do like Bob Vila and take you on a tour of ice fishing homes. It's going to be something you've never seen before. You're going to see a deer video like you've never seen before and a lot more. Stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's Thursday night, time for the Practical Sportsman.
Fred Trost's Practical Sportsman is brought to you by D.L. Kessler & Sons Construction, specializing in residential development and commercial construction since 1977, and by the financial support of viewers like you.
It could be. He sure as hell isn't afraid of us, is he?
Hello, baby.
What you're looking at is totally bizarre, totally unnatural, a freak of nature, a 6-point buck in the velvet wandering around people. Well, you'd think a deer like this had to have been bottle-fed as a fawn and raised around human beings. But nobody in this neighborhood is fessed up to raising this deer. Notice that it spent a little time under the apple tree, had a few mouthfuls, then moved on to the flower garden. Well, that's how deer eat. They balance their diets with a variety of food, and for dessert, they like to tiptoe through the tulips. Flower gardens are a favorite. But rarely will you find a deer, even a tame one, that will let people get this close. If a person gets too close, the deer will snort, just like they do in the wild when they smell a human. It's not a loud snort, but it's distinct.
Huh? What are you doing? What? What? Where are you going? Hit the tops right. Hey, the tip tops right off of it. Smokey, behave yourself. Yeah, pretend like he's just another dog. Yeah, pretend like... What? I don't have anything. Yeah, I don't have anything. No, I don't. I don't have anything. Chocolate?
If there's one animal that a deer is afraid of, it's a dog. Dogs are natural enemies of deer. Packs of dogs chase deer and kill them. That's why this is so unbelievable.
It's a funny-looking dog, huh? He smells like a deer.
Dogs and wolves take deer down by grabbing their flanks and back legs. This deer just isn't right.
Hey, musclehead. Give me a break with the bush already. Give me a break with the bush already. Come on, give me a break. Get out of my bushes. Come on.
If you've ever been around horses, you're always told to stay away from their back ends. I mean, horses are vegetable eaters like deer, and they don't like meat eaters walking around behind them. Horses kick. A lot of people don't realize that deer kick too, and their hooves can inflict nasty wounds. But here we have a deer that apparently is a little on the stupid side, and I can't give the dog very high marks in the IQ division either. And as you might expect, the deer doesn't like the dog's nose in his business. I mean, we're definitely not turning Smokey loose at the family picnic. He's a lapdog of the wrong kind. But like a typical dog, he's going to smell that deer all over. And the fact that that deer puts up with this is absolutely incredible. Gary Burrows from Port Sanilac was taking this video, and Gary swears that this was the first time they ever saw this deer in their yard. This first meeting took place mid-June. The only other time this deer came around was in early August. Now you're watching their second encounter.
Smokey. Oh, he wants to play? Be careful, you're gonna... Yeah, be careful you don't lose. Be careful you don't lose. Yeah. You got teeth, but he's got them horns, and they're a lot bigger. Yeah.
In August, the buck's antlers are polished, and those tines are not only long, but they're sharp. Please, if you're inspired by this tape to go out and play with a deer, don't. I'm serious. This is dangerous, especially with a buck. Don't think that deer are being playful. In the fall, as they head towards breeding season, they can snap like a twig, vault into a lightning-fast attack with their antlers. Every year, somebody gets gored by a pet deer. Smokey is fast. He can probably get away, but little kids? That's another story. Now, Gary Burrows said this deer only showed up twice during the summer. He grabbed his video camera both times, and the result is a few minutes of footage that's as strange as you'll find in the animal world. The behavior of the deer is bizarre, totally unnatural, very unpredictable, and largely unexplainable. But aberrations do occur like this among wild animals, but chances are somebody has an illegal pet deer that sometimes sneaks out to play. That's actually, this is a touchy subject to put on. It's almost promoting people, petting deer.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
I, of all people, know there's no way you should go up and pet a wild deer. Or even, well, we don't know if it was wild, though.
Yeah, but when
it did not act like a wild deer.
But when it's tame, or if it has been bottle fed and it has its antlers polished, not a good idea to get near a buck like that, because at that time of year they snap like
Turn
that.
on you just like that.
That one didn't. We don't know where that one went.
But that was a great video. One note to people, though, when you send in your videos, if you could record things on high speed for us, it would really help because it plays back better on our professional equipment that way.
That's the SP mode
That's right.
on your
Thank you.
VHS,
That's right.
not the EP. That's everything I know about
But that's
programming the
exactly
home.
right,
Okay.
though. Very good.
The SP. Now, this was sent to us by Jack Devens. Jack Devens was the guy who wrote the letter and sent it. He sent this little letter. Now, a few months ago, he sent me this letter,
This document.
Johnny, this document telling me what he thinks about the show and how it should be changed and so on, which we published in the January issue of the Practical Sportsman Guide, and I have an answer to it in the February issue, such a big letter. But a lot of people have opinions on the show, and who are the viewers who count the most?
Well, the people that pay for the program, the PBS people who pledge during the PBS pledge drives.
And there are their surveys, the first of the surveys.
That's right. It's only been like 3 mail days, and we got a ton of them already.
And this is information that we will be using, John will be using, to make decisions as to what this program will look like in the coming year.
Yeah, the viewers are the ones who should have a chance to decide what's going to be on the program.
Absolutely. And you can't beat success. And there's a show that's been on public TV longer than we have, This Old House.
Oh, yeah.
I think that we could take a lesson from them.
I could always hear it now.
Hi, I'm not Bob Vila, and I'm not Steve Thomas. This is not This Old House. This is what we call This Old Ice Shanty. We're going to show you various styles, shapes, and constructions of ice shanties. Of course, they're out here on the ice, and people move them around from time to time. These are up on blocks. A lot of these are up on blocks right now because we've had a thaw, and these fishermen didn't want their shanty to freeze into the new ice. But this one here, traditional construction, plywood on the sides. It has the sloped roof with some metal on the roof. And the way they move this one around, apparently, there's 2 boards, a board on each side, and I guess 4 guys pick it up. I don't know. Maybe this guy moves it himself. See, he stylized his shanty. This belongs to Ed Beartrap Crewley. Yeah, maybe he moves this himself. You don't have to have a fancy design. This one is just a box, and the paneling doesn't even have to match. I've never seen a shanty made out of bricks. Most of them have a wood exterior. This one has sheet metal, which is stapled to the wood. And of course, these things are transported, slid around, and apparently this one was in a wreck. It looks like, you don't know if they hit it while they were moving, a snowmobile hit it or what, but anyway, this metal, sheet metal on here, of course, prevents the wind from going through the cracks. But there's other ways I've seen of preventing the wind from whipping through a shanty. Oh, and here we have the perfect shanty. This is the perfect one. Look at it. Doesn't it just look like it should be in a suburb somewhere? Terry Rossell, well, you can tell a lot about a person by their shanty. Look at the color, well painted around the windows, an offsetting color, the roof, just perfect, a nice little smokestack with a lid on it. My golly, look at the lettering. Look at this. This guy is fastidious. I'll bet you he has a wife and 2 kids, a boy and a girl. He comes home with a briefcase into the shanty. I mean, this is terrific. This is really something of pride that a person can have. But there are shanties still of many different sizes, shapes, colors, and models. Now this shanty here seems to be about 4 by 6. And, you know, fairly good sized shanty, tall enough that you can stand in it. But the skis, which this guy put on his shanty, are on the wide side, on the 6-foot side. These are Kessel skis. Used to be a good brand, I know, 20 years ago. Don't know if they are now, but you can buy used skis like this for a couple bucks, or maybe just find them in somebody's trash. But he tipped it down on this side, and I guess hooks to the rope and goes. There's a couple of things about this shanty that are worth noting. One is it's about a 4 by 6 shanty that has the skis on the narrow side, on the 4-foot side. These are built out here with some blocks, but it has a tow bar, an actual aluminum tow bar here that you can hook to a snowmobile, or I suppose even a car, to slide it around the lake, be 6 foot tall. Now the second thing about this shanty that's pretty cool is it's stylized, not just with the camo painting, but Maddie, you come around here and I'm going to show you what kind of music this guy Steve Redding here listens to. There's the answer. Nuge! Right there. But look at this, he even has some little deer antlers there painted on. So there's a lot you can do in stylizing the modern ice fishing shanty. Now this shanty here has art and architecture. Of course, artwork, we've got the bluegill on the side, identifying one thing the guy likes to fish for. Look, he has a metal roof. Is that plastic? Plastic or metal with some foam in there for insulation. He has on this side a spear and a pike. Here, but look at the architecture, Matt. See the shape of this? I mean, this is your modern nouveau architecture in ice shanties, the way the roof is. But he can stand up here and fish. Now here he has his skis, which apparently someplace he fits on these for towing this around. And Jack Hale has his front door. Even quite a job here, a little drip guard over the top, vent. Look at this, glass door. I'd say Jack Hale has himself quite a modern fish shanty. This has got to be the weirdest skin for a shanty that I've seen. It appears that this is just a rubber material that is stretched over a frame. The only place there's wood is on this side where the guy has his door, but it's stretched right up over the top. Doesn't appear to be able to allow any air to get in here at all. And you know what you would call this, Maddie? This ice shanty with the rubber exterior? It's a condominium. Okay, sorry about that, sorry about that. Now this is far and away the most artistic job that I've seen on a shanty. You'll see, Matt, when you walk around here, this guy has done quite a job to recreate a forest, as it were. This guy is from Cadillac, M. Hale from Cadillac, and he has a tree painted on the side. And actually, the reason that this is done oftentimes is so snowmobilers coming across the ice can see that there's something here. White shanties are not favored out on the ice because during a whiteout, when the snow is blowing, you know, they might not see it, crash into it. But this also has a sheet metal frame on it, fairly airtight, and has this modern design on the roof. But it doesn't have that rubber covering, so we know it's not a condominium. Hey, I'm not joking about this condominium thing. No, we have one right here. This baby appears to be, I would say, an 8 by 10. This is a big one. T. Comstock from Harrietta put this monster up. I don't know if he built it out here or what. It's almost, oh, you know what it's like? Man, it's like one of these modular homes they take down the road because it's in 2 parts. It looks like they came out here and put it together. Has a reflector on it. This is for at night when people shine their flashlights, or a snowmobile or a car might be able to see that. But this is a huge one. Probably a spearing shanty, something you can entertain with. But shanties come in all sizes, shapes, styles. Do whatever you want with it. Not everybody, of course, uses a shanty. These guys here just sitting out on the ice, which means that next week we might come back with an episode of This Old Bucket. 2 weeks ago, in our Sportsman in the Law segment, we brought up a regulation that was brought to our attention by hunters who said, what is the deal here? The Hunting Digest says that a first archery deer license is good for a buck or a doe, statewide. The Digest goes on to say that the second archery deer license is mandatorily a buck license, statewide, except there was one page, in fact, several places in the Digest where it says, in certain counties in the Upper Peninsula, and those were the counties that are open to antlerless deer hunting during the firearm season, it is illegal for a bow hunter to take a second buck in those counties, and instead, the second license for an archery hunter is automatically a doe license. Now, that was very confusing to our viewers, confusing to us. John Ford, Sal Gani, and I could not agree as to actually what this meant, how it was to be enforced. So we came to the conclusion, who do we go to for information?
The department.
Department of Natural Resources. Sal suggested that he write a Freedom of Information Act request, which he did. We have a letter right here on January 17th you sent to the DNR asking for any documents that regard the implementation of this rule we're talking about for the deer hunting rules in the Upper Peninsula Deer Management Units in 1996 for archery. Now, this is a very narrow band of information we want, just something that validates where the rule came from. You did this, that was on the 17th, and the certified receipt on certified mail says the DNR received it on the 21st. And now we are Tuesday the 28th, which is 5 days later. And what does the statute say about when the DNR is supposed to respond?
Well, the Freedom of Information Act is called a FOIA, commonly known as that. And I sent the FOIA out. They have 5 business days from the date they receive it to respond with the information. Today being the 5th day, I didn't get a response yet, so we have to do some action.
So, no response. This could mean that they would never respond.
Well, under the statute, they have a few options. They can respond within 5 days. They can ask for extension 10 days. They can do nothing. If they do nothing, it's treated as an automatic denial. So what we have today is a denial, and now we have a few options. We can contact them by telephone and try and work something out, but the statute does provide for a person to sue in circuit court to try and get the information.
Now, that's going to blow the minds of people. Why would you sue a government agency for not sending you some information?
Well, every citizen by statute, by this act, has a right to get information that's available by public record. This is information that must be available by the public record. It involves the laws that they generated and made. And it affects everyone that hunts or doesn't hunt. In this case, we can go to circuit court to get the information to learn the answer because we have an answer we can't figure out.
So the legislature passed this FOIA, Freedom of Information Act regulation that allows for citizens to sue, and this is really a punitive thing against agencies. It would provide, if you brought a lawsuit, you could get your attorney fees,
Yes.
which is better than you're going to get with Practical Sportsman. You could also, they would make the agency pay $500 as a penalty.
Well, if the circuit court determines that the government willfully or failed to provide the information, then they can impose sanctions, which includes $500 fine, cost, and actual attorney fees. And the circuit court can order the department to provide the information.
Well, this is a little lesson in the
Yeah.
Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah, well, the whole point of this whole thing too is not to make a quick $500 or to sue
No.
the DNR, but to get some
Although,
answers.
doesn't sound bad.
It doesn't sound bad. But no, we want to give them a chance. I think we should contact them and see what the scoop is, because the point is finding out what happened here. Because it just seems to me like maybe they're. Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that because we don't
know.
We don't know yet.
Here we go again. The same thing we do when we talk about this, on
Yeah.
and on for a half hour, trying to figure out how this rule got in the book. All we can say now is the DNR didn't respond within the 5 days. We're going to, being as nice as we are, give them a little more time and see if we can come back next week with the answer to this question of law.
Very good.
Between Christmas and New Year's, Union Lake in Oakland County. 6 o'clock in the evening, you were jigging a teardrop in minnow.
Yeah, I caught it. It was about 6 o'clock. I was with my buddy Dan and buddy Bob fishing, and 2 days beforehand, we had a disastrous trip. I chipped my tooth folding down my shanty, broke my fishing pole, and walked into our own hole up to my knee. So I found the courage a couple days later to go back again, and after about 5 hours or so, I dropped it down, and it hit the minnow. I brought it back in to take a look at it, and lowered it back down, and he took it, and he made about 5 runs, and after about 15 or 20 minutes, we brought him in, and I got him up the hole, and a buddy gaffed it for me. There's about 20 guys standing around because I was
bet.
screaming like an idiot.
Man, I don't think Union Lake turns out a lot of walleye like this, does it?
No, they were quite surprised.
Man, that's something else. Well, between Christmas and New Year's, that was a good Christmas present for you. Teardrop
Yeah,
a
it
minute.
sure was.
Congratulations. Oh. Here's a different twist on a fish recipe. Sharon Van Allen from Davison suggested one she calls ranch fillets. She's used it with salmon, but any boneless fish fillet would work. You mix 3 ingredients, half a cup of sour cream, half a cup of Miracle Whip, and a package of Hidden Valley Ranch-style dressing mix. Then take a 6-ounce can of onion rings, crush these with a rolling pin, put the crushed onion rings in a separate bowl. Then you dip the fish fillets in the sour cream mix, then in the crushed onion rings, then put them on a baking sheet and bake at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. Ooh boy, a new twist for fish fillets, tasty ranch fillets. You can find the recipe in the January issue of the Practical Sportsman Guide.
What? What's this talk about wanting to go to Florida? What for? In Florida, you can't find ice fishing. They don't do rabbit hunting in the snow, cross-country skiing. We got it all in this state. Let me show you. Let me convince you why you should enjoy Michigan right now. You can go to Houghton Lake. They had tip-up town last weekend. Perch, pike, walleye, good fishing. Over in Lake Cadillac and Mitchell, they're going to have a big snowmobile festival this weekend. They have good fishing between the storms. Storms have been dumping snow. We'll show you the snow report. Plenty of snowmobiling snow up north. Paramarquette River, they're getting some steelhead, perch, crappie, gills down at Whitehall at White Lake. Pike up to 21 pounds. And look at the size of those perch, 11 to 13 inches. Down in Saugatuck, they have some good inland fishing, and the rabbit hunting is fair. Trenton Lighthouse, Frank says that they're getting some good pike fishing and some good perch fishing, and those are nice sized perch, 8 to 10 inches. Lake St. Clair, which was unfishable a week or so ago, now they're catching perch, some little ones, and pike is good at Metro Beach. Linwood, last weekend we had to report that below Pinconning the ice was iffy, but now that appears to be okay. Walleye, perch are spotty, but they're nice sized ones up at Oscoda, Van Etten Lake. They're getting good perch catches if you want some little itty bitty fillets. So they're running pretty small, but for the bigger perch, head a little farther north, Long Lake, Alpena, 11 to 12 inch perch. Over at Pat and Gary's Indian River, they report Burt Lake has some limits of walleye, and muskie are good up to 47 inches. Snowmobiling, hey, if you want to go across the bridge, there's tons of snow. Drummond Island has the tree lines in, both to Thessalon and St. Joseph Island. Fishing has been slow there, but look at this. Muskong Bay, walleye up to 10 pounds. Yes, those are some dandy walleye. Marquette, splake and whitefish through the ice, and pike are fair, 27-inch average. Chassel Bay is producing pike and walleye, and lake trout and coho through the ice. West end of the UP, look at this. They have 50 inches more snow than last year. Slow fishing with snow and slush. If you take a look at our snow report, you can see the snow that we have throughout the northern part of the state. Now that's great for snowmobiling, makes rabbit hunting tough. Between the ice and the snow, look at the ice. Plenty of ice there, but between the ice and the snow, that little layer can be wet and slushy in spots. Take a look at our deer severity index, the winter severity index from last year. This is where it was last year. Remember, that was a bad year. This year, those numbers are pretty darn close to last year. Let's flip back to last year again and look at this year. You can see why people up north are concerned that the deer may be in trouble again. Reminder, turkey permit deadline, midnight, Saturday night, February 1st. Another reminder, our fishing banquet is sold out. Oh, we had to send money back. Never had to do that before, but that's sold out. We still have 2 more hunting awards banquets coming up. Now, you see, with all this going on, why would you want to go to Florida? Get outdoors in Michigan this weekend. It's a great place to be. See you next week.
As a member of the Practical Sportsman, you'll receive our official monthly publication, The Wilderness Journal, edited by Kevin Drake. This publication contains outdoor news, information on outdoor businesses, an update on the pulse of the outdoors in Michigan and throughout the Midwest. Only Practical Sportsman members receive the Practical Sportsman's Guide, which is mailed inside the Wilderness Journal. Half of the guide features questions and comments from viewers about the show, along with answers. The Inside features a time schedule for all the weekly outdoor-related programs on Michigan Public TV stations. It has our recipes for the month. There's a plan for a homemade ice shanty and a listing of Big John Fishing Award winners for January and Deer Quest Hunting Awards for October. Joining the Practical Sportsman also includes a membership in the Michigan Sportsman Congress. If you'd like a sample copy of the January issue, drop me a line at Box 1001, Bath, Michigan 48808, and close $1 for expedited 3-day delivery.
Fred Trost Practical Sportsman is brought to you by D.L. Kessler & Sons Construction, specializing in residential development and commercial construction since 1977, and by the financial support of viewers like you.
You got teeth, but he's got them horns, and they're a lot bigger. Yeah.
In August, the buck's antlers are polished, and those tines are not only long, but they're sharp. Please, if you're inspired by this tape to go out and play with a deer, don't. I'm serious. This is dangerous, especially with a buck. Don't think that deer are being playful. In the fall, as they head towards breeding season, they can snap like a twig, vault into a lightning-fast attack with their antlers. Every year, somebody gets gored by a pet deer. Smokey is fast. He can probably get away, but little kids? Well, that's another story. Now, Gary Burrows said this deer only showed up twice during the summer. He grabbed his video camera both times, and the result is a few minutes of footage that's as strange as you'll find in the animal world. The behavior of the deer is bizarre, totally unnatural, very unpredictable, and largely unexplainable. But aberrations do occur like this among wild animals, but chances are somebody has an illegal pet deer that sometimes sneaks out to play.